Lisa. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good. I'm so excited I get to see you today, even
I
for a
know.
couple of minutes.
Yep. No, it's great. It's
It's,
been too.
I know. It's always fun when you get to work along with your best friend, because then it's like, you get to see your best friend at work, and that makes it less worky, right?
Yes, it does.
So thanks so much for joining us. We've already got 23 hopping on. I think we have 35 now registered. So we'll give everybody about a minute and a half to get started. So let me introduce myself. My name is Colleen DeLange. I am on staff here at my Real Source. A little bit about my background is I just became the new education director. So you're going to be seeing more of my fuzzy hair in the screen if you haven't seen me before. And I'm excited because I get to introduce one of the best trainers in the business and also my best friend. So it's like a double plug there. But Lisa Harris. And Lisa, tell us a little bit about you.
Thanks, Colleen. Well, I sell real estate too, just like everyone else, so it makes it a little bit easier when I teach the classes since I use it. It's been quite a while since I started in the business, but I've been training with my realtors. I want to say, I think this is year 14, maybe something like that. But anyways, I love what I do. I love training, and I can't wait to get back into a classroom because I like seeing everybody. I don't like these go-to-webinars, but it's all good.
I know. I can't wait. We're just finishing up. They just finished the construction on our building. So we're setting up our hybrid classroom right now. And I'm excited we'll be back in front of people again. I just can't wait. It's going to be wonderful. But I'm excited because I know you're going to take everybody on a tour of TransactionDesk and Authentisign. And you know what? I have learned, matter of fact, Lisa taught me TransactionDesk, God, I think 10 years ago. So you're learning from the best. She's going to give you some great time-saving tips and techniques, and things that I wish I had known all along. And so you're in good hands. I'm going to be on the backside. I'm going to turn my camera off, and I'm just going to be handling any questions today. If you do have any questions in your GoToWebinar panel, there is a questions box. All you have to do in your GoToWebinar panel, you'll find a questions box. Simply type your questions in. I'll be taking those behind the scenes. If it's a question that we get commonly, I'm going to go ahead and openly ask it. Lisa's really nice. She lets me poke in once in a while with questions. So feel free to keep those questions coming. And then we're also recording this class. So afterward, you can go back if you missed something or you had to step away for a quick call. Don't worry, we're recording the class and we'll show you how to get there at the end. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you. Okay, Lisa?
Sounds good, Colleen. Colleen, I still only see staff, so I won't be able to check. So as long as you're going to be still here through the whole class and you can check for questions, I'm not concerned. I just want to make
will
sure
be
that
your
you can see
question
everyone.
handler.
Perfect. Thank you. And I'll check in with you too now and again, just in case I missed anything. So thank you so much, Colleen.
My pleasure. I'll turn my fuzzy hair off and take it away.
All right, wonderful. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And actually, Colleen, did you get a chance to add the handouts on the right side of the screen?
You know what? I did not add handouts, but I will add those in right now.
Please, please. So Colleen is going to add in some handouts for you on the right side. They'll be PDFs. You can download them right onto your computer. These will be great to help you. They're step-by-step guides. Colleen and I have been writing them for quite a while, and these will walk you through everything we're going to do today. So as you mentioned, we're going to go through TransactionDesk. We're going to start off in Paragon, and we're going to actually write a purchase agreement. I'm going to take you through a whole Authentisign and signing, and then we'll go through a few other things to customize, and we'll be good to go. So again, if you have questions, please raise your hand on the right side of your screen, type in the chat box, and Colleen will kind of keep an eye, and I'll try to stop in between as well just to check in. So I'm going to turn my camera off so I can give you a nice screenshot here of what I'm doing so you have a better view. And we're going to go into Paragon. And like I said, we're going to start off with the property and we're going to pull it in and write an offer on it. So I'm going to give you my listing. It is pending, but we can at least start writing with that, because in case in the Authentisign part, you want to send it to me, then I know it's not a real offer. I don't want you sending to another agent and, all of a sudden they think there's a real offer coming in and it's not. So let me give you the property MLS number. So up here in the top of your screen on your power search, you can put the MLS number in, and it's 501-30496. So as you put that in, you should see it pop up. It'll be at 31654 Palomino. It is pending. And all you're going to do is just click on that. It's going to open up the full listing for you. So you should see the full listing information right here. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is we're actually going to click on these icons. So you should see the Legacy Full Agent Report, depending what you have as your default in the system, or you might have Agent Detail with Map. which will show all those icons in the center area here. But what we're doing is we're looking for the little transaction desk icon. So it's blue with lines throughout it. If you hover over it, it should say start a transaction. So go ahead and click on that and give it a second to load. Okay, so as it loads, a pop-up window should appear and it'll say create transaction. The property address should show up. It's going to ask you if you want a template, if you do have templates created. So with the templates, what they are is basically your office may have done these if you haven't yourself. They take all of the forms that you need for a specific transaction and create a template for you. So you should have a buyer package, a seller package. You can do one for leases. You can do one for commercial properties, whatever you'd like. But this is just going to make it easier for you so you don't have to select individually the forms. If you don't have a template, don't worry. I'm going to show you at the end how to do that. So if you have templates, go ahead and click the drop-down menu and select which template you want. So I'm going to select the one for Berkshire Hathaway, which is my office, and I'm going to select my buyer package here. It's going to ask you where it's pulling the data from. I'm pulling from my real source, and you can see the MLS number automatically appeared in here. And it's going to ask you at the bottom, what are you being added as? Well, I'm going to be the selling agent. But again, if you're doing a listing, you would add this as a listing agent. Or if you're both, then you can add both. And then it's going to automatically check mark the wizard. You want to use the wizard. I've been doing this for a while. I can do this probably in my sleep, but I always use the wizard because as we know, technology will freeze. You'll have issues. Your computer shuts down, whatever it might be. The wizard will auto save. So everything you've done up to that point, it will save and you won't lose anything. So go ahead and select at the very top right corner of your screen, there's a create button. Go ahead and click on that. And let's give it a second to load. And as this is loading, I can see Colleen has put in under the handouts, 5 different handouts for you. So these will be very helpful for you later on when you go through this again. Okay, so once this loads, you're going to notice the information at the top here for the property. It's going to give you a previous button and a next button. So as you go back and forth throughout this, you want to make sure you don't select anything other than previous or next. At the very bottom, if you select save and exit, it will take you out of the wizard. On the right side of your screen, you're going to notice, and if it's not open, it might look like this. Go to the top right corner of your screen. There's 3 lines and there should be an arrow. So if you don't see anything on the right side, just click on that. These are all the different sections that you have with this transaction. The wizard's up here. So if for some reason you get booted out of the wizard, you can just click on it, it takes you right back in. We're going to walk through 5 steps total here. So we're on the first one already, the details. And let's take a look at what information they have here. So the idea of pulling this right from Paragon is so you can pull whatever information they can from the listing itself. So you can see the property address pulled up. It shows me as a listing agent. Well, it shows me as the agent because I'm the buyer's agent because that's what I selected. You can see here again the address. It's going to give you MLS number, year built, school district, tax ID number, legal description. So it gives you a good amount of information here. So if there's anything missing at this point, you can put it in. So what we need here, first of all, where it says property type, I'm going to select residential. And as I scroll down further, because I'm writing an offer, I'm going to go down to the second section here on the right that says purchase information. Now you'll notice on the left, it says listing information. If you're doing a listing, you are walking through these exact same steps. So if you're doing a listing, you'll be on the left side of your screen. You're doing a purchase, you're on the right. So we're going to put in an offer amount. So go ahead and type in a dollar amount. You don't need any decimals, no commas, no periods, just the numbers. Once you have a purchase price in, underneath that, we want to put our EMD amount. So under deposit, I'll say $. And if you scroll down a little bit further, on the left side of your screen, it will say property includes, property excludes. So if you are asking for appliances, you can type in here, all appliances. If it excludes something, maybe chandelier in dining room, whatever it might be, you can type it in here. The idea of typing in as much information in these next 5 steps is so that it pulls it into your contracts and it pre-fills items for you, so it saves you time. So we're going to go to the top right of our screen here, and where it says details to the right, next, go ahead and click on that. And now we're into our transaction dates. So again, we're writing an offer, so the list date doesn't matter to us. We can put an expiration date in there. Offer date you can put in as well. We can put in also our closing date, which is really important. So let's select closing date. And we'll just say, we'll pretend this is a cash deal. I wish I had a cash deal in, but here we go. And if you are giving possession any occupancy, you'll want to change the possession dates. Right now, it's set up for the same date as your closing date. So if you're giving them 30 days, you'll want to add that in. So I'm going to just drop in a date in here. And now we're going to go to the top again, to the next button. And we'll go to our third section here. Third section is contacts. So what you'll notice here is that you should see the listing broker in my office. You should see me as the listing agent. Then you should see your office as a selling broker and yourself as a selling agent. Now, what we're missing is our buyers. We need to get our buyers in here. So the one thing you'll find in the system is whenever you need to add something, you just need to look for that plus sign, the add button here on the top right. And that's going to go across different sections in TransactionDesk. So just look for that add button. Now we have an option to add a new contact, which we're going to do. You can add an existing contact, which is your address book in TransactionDesk. It's not the one that you have in Paragon. It's TransactionDesk. So every time you create a transaction, it's going to save those contacts for you and start an address book for you. You can add yourself and you can add from your Google contacts as well. So let's start with a new, create new transaction contact. Go ahead and click on that. And you'll notice this box here at the very top, it's going to say type. If you click on that drop-down menu, and always look for those arrows so you know there's a drop-down, you can add anyone you want that's involved in this transaction. So I can add my buyers, I can add the buyer's father, I can add an attorney, I can add the title company, my office, whoever you want to include in this transaction. And by adding them in here, then you can have their email address and their information. So if you need to send things or if you're doing digital signings, it makes it a lot faster. So we're going to add Mr. Buyer first. So go ahead and click on Buyer. The two things that have to be filled out is first name, last name, asterisk here. So if you click on first name, so we're going to I usually make up their names because I have a lot of contacts and I don't want to confuse them with my real buyers. And then under last name is email address. So go ahead and put in your email. What we're going to do is we're actually going to create the signing to this transaction and you'll send it to yourself to do a signing. So I find it's easier. So let's add your email address. Okay. And you can see at the bottom, it says add to address book. Now, you notice it says preferred signature, preferred initials. If you have a buyer that uses like an LLC or they are using a maybe a trust, whatever it might be, you're going to put in for the first and last name whatever the name of the purchase name is going to be under. So whatever title is going to be under. So for example, I have a buyer that buys everything under his LLC. So for his first and last name, I usually, and it doesn't matter what you put in each box, but both have to be filled out. So I just put part of his, and then I do LLC. So I put part of his name that's printed on his title in the first box, and then in the last name, I put part of it as well. So I have that in there, but now for his preferred signature and preferred initials, I'm going to put his real name. Because when he clicks to sign, I need to make sure that he's getting his actual signature in there, and it's not going to be the LLC name or the trust name. So that's the only time you have to worry about these boxes below, is if your signature is different than what's printed on title. So that's the only time. Otherwise, you would just keep everything the way it is. You don't fill these out, and you would just put in your buyer in here. Okay. Once you've got their information in, top right corner, we're going to hit the save button. So we've got Mr. Buyer, and now we need Mrs. Buyer. So you have to put them in individually because they have separate signature lines. So we're going to go to add again, create new transaction contact, type in for the type, you're going to select buyer again, first name, and then last name, and your email address again. Okay, so now I have Mr. Buyer in, and I'm going to hit save in the top right corner, and Mrs. Buyer's in as well. So now you should have all your contacts all ready to go. So we're going to hit next in the top right corner,
Lisa,
Okay.
I need a buyer like Mr. Loaded.
Me too. I need more of them. I don't have any right now, unfortunately, but yeah, especially with this market and the prices nowadays. I'll tell you. Okay, so now once you get the forms, don't worry if you don't have any. It's not a problem. If you didn't select a template, you're probably not going to see anything in here. So because I selected my template, you can see all of my forms are in here that have been packaged together by my office. So I have everything I need to write my offer. So let's add. We're going to go to this step. We're going to actually add. So if you go up to your add and plus sign, go ahead and click on that. And you're going to notice you're going to have all these folders pop up. So in order to find something easy, I find is the best way to do this is hit your search button here in the top right, because there's quite a bit of forms in here, and just type in what you're looking for. So if I'm looking for a purchase, if you're just called a purchase agreement or buy and sell agreement, just start typing it in. As you type it in, it will find all the forms that we have that match, and it'll also tell you which folder it's in. So for example, I've got a bunch in here that I would be using, but like GMAR, if I want the GMAR purchase agreement, it's right here. When you find the form you want, all you're going to do is click in the circle to the right of it, and then you're going to go back to the top of your screen where your find is, and then type in what you need. So I've got my purchase agreement. Say I want my agency. Let's see. Agency disclosure. Reading it back. Disclosure regarding agency. Find that. So you'll find the one that you want from here. So here's Michigan Realtors has one in here. I'm going to click on that. Okay. And then so on. So you basically will keep adding in here. That's the way I find might be the easiest. But the other thing you can do is you can go back, clear out your search, go to Berkshire Hathaway, your Remax, your Century 21 folder, whichever office you're with, you should have a folder in there as long as they've submitted forms for you to fill out. And what you're going to do is just open it up, click on it once, and then you're going to select what you want. So they should have everything in here that your office uses. And if you use all their forms, this might be easier for you too. Then you can go through and just check mark all those circles. And as you notice, as I've check marked things, this little basket here has a number in it. So whatever I've selected, that number shows up in the basket. Once you have everything selected that you want, and you can go back to individual forms at any time when you're in a folder. But once you have everything you need, you go to the top right and hit add. And that's going to add that in for you. Okay, once it does add it in, and if you added them in and you already have forms, go to the bottom of your screen to see whatever you've just added. It always will drop at the bottom. Okay, so we've got our forms in here. Now you can move these in whatever order you want. So I like to have these kind of in order, like my purchase agreement first, then my disclosure regarding agency, then addendums, whatever you need. So you can put these just by left click and drag them back and forth. You can move these around. We're going to go ahead and click next to get to our next section. Okay, documents. So documents is anything that's been uploaded into the listing itself. If the listing was put into Paragon, it will automatically pull. So as you see here, seller's disclosure came in, my lead-based paint addendum, there's an escalation clause, appraisal gap, my office always puts those in. But anyways, those are in there as well. If the listing was put into another MLS, then you're going to have to download those and you're going to have to upload them in. So you'll have to save them first from the listing itself. And obviously to get your documents, if you go back to Paragon tab, I'll show you real quick. You don't have to go to this, but just to show you, if you go to your documents, they should be in here, click on them, and you should be able to save them to your desktop. When you go back into here, we're going to hit add. So, to the right side of your screen, that add and plus sign, we're going to click on that. And now you can upload up to 20 documents at the same time. And again, documents are things that are added in, they're things that you're not filling out. So your purchase agreement and addendums, things like that, those will probably be in your forms, but anything that's associated that the listing agent put in that you need to fill out, cover sheets, whatever it might be, will be pulled into your documents. So you're going to click in this blue box here. It's going to allow you to search your computer. So I'm going to go to my downloads, and then you're going to select what you're looking for. So I can do a search in here. I can just pull data sharing maps, just the heck of it, and then you're going to hit open. So you can see it pulls it in. You can add as much as you need. Now, another thing you can do to keep everything together, you can add your buyer's pre-approval letter in here. You can add in a proof of funds. So anything you'd like to keep everything in one folder where it's easy for you to find, this is a great place to do it. Just click in that blue box, locate what you need, and upload those in. Okay, so I'm going to hit close on this. And you can see once things are in here, there is a trash to the right. So if you put something in like the data sharing map you don't need, I'm going to delete it. You can remove it from here. Okay, so we have just completed all 5 steps. We're going to select done. And then I'm going to show you a few other things in here before we get into Authentisign. Okay, so if you look to the right side of your screen, let's kind of walk through these. Now, my screen might look different than yours. I have customized my dashboard, but you're going to have the same things that I have because everything on the right are some of the items that are here in the center. So every one of your folders associated with your sale here that you're writing up, your offer, will be here on the right side of your screen. If you don't see it again, top right corner, you've got those 3 lines with an arrow or 2 lines with an arrow, and you just click on it, it will open it up for you. So let's walk through these sections again. So we did the wizard. Next one's your dashboard, which is what we're looking at right now. Then it's your details, which details was the first section that we went through when we started our transaction. So this is going to give you property address, property type, price, information, anything that's included for appliances and things like that. If you need to come back and make changes when you're working on something and you come back to your file later, you can just go to these sections. You don't have to walk through the wizard again. If you just have to go in and do something quick, come back in here and you can make your changes right in here. Okay. Under details on the right side of your screen will be your contacts. So if you click on contacts, now all the contacts should be in here. With your contacts, if you need to make any changes, if you click these 3 dots, you can edit. It'll open up your client dashboard. You can email and delete. You go to the right side of your screen again, let's take a look at our forms. You're going to have a lot of options now that we're done with our wizard here. So once you go into forms, you're going to notice your 3 dots here. So let's open one up and let's take a look at your options. So first thing is preview. So if you're not sure if you grab that right form, click on preview real quick. This will show you quickly, is this the correct one? And you can see it's already pre-filled items for me.
Hey Lisa, can I jump in with a quick question
Absolutely.
for my good friend Joy? So the question was, so she clicked on the seller's disclosure. Can you go back and just show her how to add that seller's disclosure again to her transaction?
Yeah, so she's missing her seller's disclosure?
Yeah, and so she clicked on it. I think maybe she has the form open, so she may need to exit out of the form editor. Yeah, could you just show her that step again?
Yes. So if you have it open from Paragon, you're going to need to download it. So if you're in here and you click on to open this up, it's going to open up a new tab. It should open up a new tab for you, and you need to download this. So I've got my download. I'm on Firefox, so it's typically on the right side of my screen. Sometimes they're on the bottom left. You might be on Google, but you're going to want to find something where you can save it. So if I click on this, it's going to save this now onto my computer, my laptop. So then I can go back into my transaction desk, and I'm going to go to my documents. So if you look on the right side of your screen, you're going to click documents. You're going to click add new document, and you're going to click in this blue box and just locate it. Now, if you click on it and you are if you're looking in the form editor where you can actually make changes, and you already have it in here, what we need to do is get you back to where we're at. So all you have to do is go to the right side of your screen again. And right now I'm in documents. You just click on documents. It takes you back to this. But you'll probably have to maybe save and exit if you're in form editor. So just hit file, save and exit, and it'll take you out back to forms actually. So, but if you do end up clicking on things, which I sometimes do, and I end up somewhere where I don't want to be, just go back to the right side of your screen and click on whatever section you need to get back into. And hopefully that answers your question. Let me know if
there's one other question. So should I automatically upload the seller's disclosure when opening a transaction? Well, the nice thing about seller's disclosures, if you do the one-click transaction on the purchase side, it will pull disclosures as long as they're a my role source listing. It'll pull those disclosures over for you, and Lisa's going to show that. If it doesn't, then yes, you do want to pull in those sellers disclosure. So for instance, if you're writing on a my role source listing, let's say Lisa has a listing, you write an offer to purchase on it, you can, when you click that offer to purchase where you're pulling all the documents over, it will automatically pull the seller's disclosure in lead-based paint. But because of RealComp switching to Remine, it doesn't do that with RealComp listings. So it is an extra step. So the question is, if it's a real comp listing, yeah, you're going to want to go in and manually pull over, as Lisa showed. You can just open up documents. You can even drag and drop it onto that bar, and that will load it in. That way, when your buyer's going to sign everything, he has everything. You don't have to piecemeal it. I don't want to send the seller's disclosure and then the documents. I want to have everything in one envelope, if you will. And so as Lisa's showing you, you can literally just drag and drop that file right onto that blue strip. And that's how easy it is to pull over those seller's disclosures in lead-based paint. So hopefully that helps. Good questions coming in. Good job, Lisa. Thank you.
Thanks, Colleen. Okay, so let's go back. I was in forms. I just want to finish showing you the options you have in these in your menu for each one of these documents. So let's go back to forms. Again, if you're somewhere where you shouldn't be, just click at the top right corner. If you don't see your options here for your folders, click on forms. And if you look again in those three dots, so we were able to preview. If you select download, that's going to download whatever form you're looking at. Now, forms are the difference between forms and documents. Again, forms are contracts, addendums, agency disclosure, whatever it might be that you're filling out. They're already in the system for you. They're open forms that you can actually type into. Documents are going to be locked forms, PDFs, that are either added as disclosures that are added to the transaction, pre-approval letter, you know, whatever it might be, that is a PDF that's already completed that you're uploading into included in the transaction. So that's the difference between the two. So if you go to the download, it's going to download whatever one you're at right now. It's going to save that buy and sell agreement as a PDF. So now it's a locked one. So if it's on your desktop, it's going to be a PDF. So don't worry, it's always in your forms. If you ever have to make changes, you do a listing, you come back, you got to change the price, whatever it might be. These are all open-ended forms. So you can go back in anytime and you can always edit. Under download, you can delete. So if you have things in here that you don't need, again, if you're using templates, most likely you will. There's going to be quite a bit in here. So you can delete whatever you don't need. Properties and rename. I do this quite frequently when I have to do like an addendum. If I do just a general addendum and I'm adding different things throughout the transaction, I will rename them, because after a while, if I've got 5 general addendums, all named general addendum, I'm not going to know what's what, and it becomes frustrating. So I will put on there, price reduction or concessions or whatever it is, so that way when I go back to it, I know which one I need to grab. So in here, you would just name it and hit rename. It's that simple. So under your menu again, under properties, edit form. So this is what we're going to be doing in a second. Don't click on this one yet. We're going to take you into the form editor. We're actually going to walk through all of these. Under the edit form, there's a send. So if I want to email this or I want to fax it, I can send it right from here. And remember, as I'm going through these menus, I'm just looking at the options for just my buy and sell agreement. If you have multiple forms you need to do something with, I'll show you how to do those in a second. Copy or move, I can copy this. So if I have a general addendum, I need another one in there, I can copy that over again. I can move it into another folder. My client writes an offer, doesn't go through, I've got his pre-approval in here, or I've got other forms I filled out as buyer agency, whatever it might be. I can move this into another folder, so I already have what I need in the next folder. Slice and markup tools, which we're going to go into those under documents, but slice and markup will allow you to slice out pages, and it will allow you to write on pages that are PDFs that you can't make changes to. So for example, I'm the listing agent, you just sent me an offer, my client is countering. I can now go into markup and I can write, I can put a line through the price, and I can write in what the correct price is going to be or what our counter offer is, and so forth. And then I can send it to Authentisign. Now, if I needed to pull a bunch of these, so for example, I'm going to go meet with my client, I already filled these out, I can now select multiple, go into my basket, and this will allow me to do other options here. So I can send these all to Authentisign. I can make a copy of all these. I can download them in a zip. Now, if you do this and you're sending it to your client, just make sure that they can unzip it, because what it does is it condenses into a smaller file, and that way it doesn't take up too much space when you're emailing it. Now, they're PDFs, so usually I don't have an issue just emailing these. I know people like to do zip files to reduce, especially if there's like large photos and large formats, but for something like this, you shouldn't have to do this. But if you want to do a zip, it does a zip, and then they're going to have to click to unzip it and then open up all the forms. Next, you can print it. So if I'm going to go and meet with my client, we're doing what signatures, this is the best way to do it. Once you fill everything out, you check mark them all, come in here, select print, and then I can go and sit with my client and have them sign. I can save these as a PDF right on my desktop. I can email these. I can fax them. We have tested this. It does work. If you're going to test it, don't send like the one time I think I sent like 10 different forms to the fax machine. It makes it very difficult to stop it. So, but it does work. And I can throw them in the garbage as well. Okay, so that is your options in your forms. So go to your right of your screen, and we are going to skip over signings. We're going to go to documents. So again, documents are anything that you upload in the system or anything that's been uploaded into the listing itself in Paragon that you will need in order to write an offer. So you can see here again, your disclosures and everything should be here. If you need to add anything in, again, your add button's up here. If you click to the right here of any of these, let's say your escalation clause, you click on the menu, I'll walk you through these. So under, let's just go to seller's disclosure. Under menu, first one's preview. Again, you can click on that and you can see your preview of the seller's disclosure. You can also print it, you can download, you can delete it, you can rename it, which I do frequently in here, send it to email, to fax, you can copy or move it, slice and markup, which we're going to do in a second. You can send it to Authentisign, you can upload a revision, you can see the revisions made, and you can write notes on this. So these are, I believe, are pretty good if you are on a team or you have assistants. This is probably good for them to make notes and things for you on the transaction, that you kind of keep track of what's going on. You can see the history. So if I have done a lot of things in here with this specific form, you would see, or this document, you would see exactly what I've done. I will use history a lot of times to see if I remembered, which here on the right, if I sent the emails out to someone specific, or if I had the right email address, or whatever it might be. But you get to see history of what you've done. Okay, and then the last thing, is there anything else left in here? Let's see, history, and then your digital signing as well. Okay, so those are all the options for your menus here. And then you do have a few other things here. You've got a checklist option, so you can create a checklist. So my office now, our front desk staff uses TransactionDesk for our transactions to keep track of all of the documents to make sure we have everything we need for our files. So they actually come in here, and as you can see here, it shows that it's been pending. They've attached it with whatever's mandatory. I believe by pulling this in, I pulled into my real file on this, but anyways, so you can see this has everything in here that they've worked on, or whatever they've added, whatever's pending and so forth. That is what the checklist will do for you. Now, I believe you can create your own here by hitting add. I haven't done anything with checklists, again, because my office does this, but you can add a checklist item, and then you can select what it is from here, and then it walks you through adding those items. Tasks are a good one if you need reminders. So if you click on tasks to the right, and you hit add. So maybe I need to remind myself for certain things, like schedule inspection. So I can put a description if I want. And again, if you have an assistant, or if you have admins, or if you have a team, this is great too to send reminders out. You can put a due date. Do you want a specific date, time? So typically you'll want to put, whatever your time frame is for your inspection, and you can assign it. So if you've got a team, or you have assistants or admins, you can also share it with them as well. And you can notify them by email if there's a change or anything. So these are really good to use if, like I said, to help keep up with things that you might need to do, and little reminders as well. Okay, if you go to the right of your screen again, you have call logs. So this again, I find is great if you are working with someone, more than one person on the same file. You can put what the caller was, what the subject, and what the message was. This is the history we're talking about. So now you can see everything I've done to this point. So every one of these are added in here. And if I was emailing this to someone or anything of that sort, I can click the I here on the right, and it'll give me that information. So if it was sent an email, it will tell me emailed and the email address it was sent to. And if we go back to the right here, they have some extras in here, things that I honestly don't use, but they have providers for, I guess, for home warranty and things like that, title companies. I'm not sure if you'll need these, but that is on your right side under closing services. Integrations, again, these are things that are additional things that you can pay for. And then to the right, you can also start advertising. that will take you into new, probably don't want to do. I'm gonna close that out. So these are extras here again. I'm not sure if you'll need these, but they do have other options for you. Okay, so we've walked through our wizard. We did our steps. We added in our forms. We added our documents. We added our buyers. So now, once you're done with that, you're going to go back into your forms. So if you click on forms on the right side of your screen, and now we need to fill in the rest of our forms. So I'm going to start off with my buy and sell agreement. And once you open this up, it'll take you into what's called a form editor. So if you click on the name, it takes you into this. And let's walk through all your options here. Now you can see some things are pre-filled, and that was again by walking through that wizard and filling in the information and pulling it from Paragon, it filled things in for me. So if you go to the top here under File, I'm going to show you all your options. So first thing is New. New allows you to add a new form without closing out your form editor. So if I forgot something to this point and I need to go back in and pull a form, I can come back in here and go to my rail source forms, for example, select whatever I need, and then I can add that in. So you can do that right from here. So it's just under File. Open Form will show you all the forms that you have selected for this transaction. And then you can select the next one. So when I'm done filling out my buy and sell agreement, I usually come in here and I click on my disclosure regarding agency relationship, for example, and that opens that one up for you next. You go back to your file, save. You can save your changes that you've made in here, which you always want to do that. You can also save as a PDF. But remember, once you save as PDF, it locks it, creates a document, and you can't edit it. So it's going to save it to your desktop the way it is. And again, if you're going to meet with your client, you'll want to save these as PDF and print them. Go below save, you have copy. If I need to make an extra copy of this, I can right here. Be careful with erase, because if you hit erase, it will remove all the information you have filled in here. So I probably wouldn't use it unless you absolutely need to start all over again. Watermark. My client has an attorney vault. They want to review everything, and I want them to know that this is not the final copy. I can put draft on here. Just beware that it's going to stay on your sheet unless you remove it. So when you get it back, or you need to go back in here and say they've approved everything or you've made your changes, now you can go up to File, Watermark, and at the bottom it says Remove. So you just click Remove and it removes that watermark. You go back up to File, you can remove, which will delete this form, which I don't want to get rid of it, but you can from here. You can print it, you can send it to an email, you can fax, you can send it to your document, your document box, which is all your PDFs. You can go to help and you can save and exit. Save and exit takes you out of the form editor back into your dashboard and to your transaction. So if you look to the right of File, you have fonts. You can select different font styles, whichever one you like. So if I want to change it to something different, we can say bold oblique. If you don't like the color, we can change the color of your print. So I had an agent tell me, a newer agent, he would change his fonts to red. So everything he's typing in is in red. And then that way it was easier for his clients to see everything that he filled in. And which I guess is great, you know, to make sure everything's in there. But if you send this to your client this way, this is exactly how it's going to stay. Everything will be red. So if you make the change just to send it to them, then you might want to come back in here and you can always change it back. Again, it's completely. Under color is your sizes. Now, when you do increase your size, it's going to increase your font on every page. So be careful because you can see it starts to cut off things. Make sure you stay within a point that's, you know, that doesn't cut off any information. And you can also do all uppercase, all lowercase, all title. Please don't use all uppercase because then it looks like you're yelling at people. So keep them all kind of mixed case is probably a better way to go. But you do have all those options here under your fonts. Next to font is clause. Now, if you don't see a clause button, don't worry. I'm going to show you how to create these. Clauses are things that you might type into your contracts that you use over and over. For example, including appliances or septic or well inspections or anything of that sort. So I have some already created. And in order to use these, you have to go to a multiple line section on your form. So I'm going to go down to where I have additional items. It's going to be this page right here. So where it says other terms and conditions, you need to find something that's multiple lines. For some reason, it doesn't let you use it unless there's multiple lines. So you'll click in this box. And if you notice, when I left click, you can hit add clause right from here. Personal clauses are ones you create. If your office has any, you can click on those, which my office has some. And if the system has any, which it doesn't look like there is, it would show up in there. So I'm going to go back to home. I'm going to show you how I add mine first, and then later on I will show you how to create these. So I'm going to go ahead and just drop in all of these just so you kind of see what I do. So all you're doing is you're clicking on the circle to the right, you select OK, and there you go. So I have one for my appliances, including all the appliances, and then you can modify these. So say the washer and washer is not included. So now I can remove washer and just leave microwave and dryer. I did add 0 value to my appliances because I got tired of underwriters requesting an addendum showing there's 0 value to appliances. So I just now added it in. So it's added into my contract. I did this for concessions, so I can actually just come in here. I left it kind of blank here. So if I want to say 3% concessions, I can just click 3 and that drops it in. EMD to be made upon acceptance of offer, seller to have septic cleaned out prior to inspection. So again, these are just basic clauses that I use. So you can just add these in if you want to use them. Back to the top of your screen. If you hit transaction forms, that is the same thing as opening your forms. You can see all the forms that have been selected for this transaction. And if you click on any of them, it will load it. All right, the top. To the right of transaction form, the one that looks like a book, all it does is it moves the pages for you. So I'm on page 5 right now, so I need to go back to page 1. So I don't have to scroll, I just click page 1 and it moves it for me. That's all it. To the right, I can zoom in, I can zoom out, I can zoom to the width, I can zoom to the vertical height. So this is just your zoom options. To the right of that, markups. Okay, so the markup tools, and again, I'm going to show you slicing tools as well. This will allow you to remove things, add things, put lines through things. Now, I don't like doing it in my form editor. I like doing this when I'm doing my signing, and the reason being is because when I'm signing and I do make a change, I have to have my client's initials. So if I do it while I'm doing my signing part, then I can pull their initials over at the same time so I don't miss that. But this does give you options to make changes to this form. I don't want to do it in here. I'm going to show you again when we go into Authentisign how to walk through these, but you'll be able to strike out, you can put a line through things, you can highlight things, you can do this redact, which covers a lot of it. You can do annotates, which gives you a box to type into it. To the right of that, it goes to Authentisign, and then you have save and exit. Okay. So again, once you go through your wizard, you go through your 5 steps, you're going to click on forms, you're going to double click and open this up. You're going to come in here now and take a look at what's missing. So now I'm going to fill in whatever's missing in the contract because it's not going to have everything in here. So say it's cash sale. If you're doing a mortgage, you'll want to fill in your mortgage information. If there's concessions, you can drop in concessions in here. If you're asking for warranty, you know, whatever you've got in your contract. Here's my possession days. We're giving 30 days. Say $0. And again, this is, you know, you'll go in and finish filling it out. When you're done, you can go file, and I always save, even though it's supposed to auto save. I still don't trust it. I still save. And then you can go back to either transaction forms up here and select your next one. Or you can also go under file and hit open form, and that'll allow you to select those as well. Once you get the next one open, you're going to go through and do the exact same steps again. You're going to go through and fill in whatever is missing in here. And then make sure you've check marked that agent and make sure your client's information is in. Now you can see my buyers' names aren't in here. So now I can put names in here. And then select that they're both buyers. Okay, and then once you know that's good, you're gonna go ahead and hit file, save, and you're gonna pick your next form. So you kind of get the idea here. So basically you're gonna walk through each form, fill out whatever's missing, finish them up before we go to Authentisign. Okay, so to this point, I think we have finished everything we need to. So before I take you into Authentisign, are there any questions or anything you'd like me to show you again?
We do have one question. Perfect
Sure.
timing. We do have one. Could you show the checklist and just kind of a recap of how the checklist works again, and maybe the tasks, just kind of a quick overview again?
Yeah. So checklist, again, my office is set up that they use the checklist. So you can see they add in, they have what is needed for a pending, and then they're going to actually check mark what's been done and they attach it. You can create your own checklist. You can add a checklist, and then you can select, you know, whatever the item might be that you're looking for And then you can put in there what it is. So like you can see this is a pending, exactly. And then in there you can add in, you can see which forms they've got in here. And it says, you know, these are mandatory, not mandatory, whatever. That's your checklist. What I find might be more helpful is your tasks, because then this is your reminders. So I can come in here, click on add, I can name it. So like I said, for inspection, remove sign, just my listing. You can put a due date on here. So on by the 31st. So I want to make sure I get reminders, and I want a reminder sent a day before, just to remind you to make sure it was done. And then you can add additional people here that will get email reminders as well. And then you can notify them. So
I like that too. I like that too, Lisa, on that where it says due on a specific date. You can even set up a series of automated. So you could say that it's related to a transaction date. So let's say that you base your sign removal on the closing date. So you get that automated email reminder. So there's a whole bunch of, you can set this up so that it's really automated. And as Lisa mentioned, you can actually add, if you have a team, you can actually add other people on your team who get those notifications. So it makes it a little bit easier, but hopefully that answered your question, Jill. Thanks, Lisa.
No problem. Okay, so if everyone is good, let's do a signing. We're going to walk through signing. And don't worry, we'll be coming back into TransactionDesk, but right now let's do a signing real quick. I want to take you in and complete this. So again, we went through Wizard, we did the 5 steps, we opened up our forms, filled them out. Now we go into signings on the right side of your screen. And we are going to add, and that add in that plus sign, and you're going to name it. So I usually put on your offer, I'll probably put class offer, because I think this actually pulled it into my real transaction, which I don't want to confuse it with everything else I have in there. So class offer on Palomino, hit save. And once this opens up, we're going to walk through the steps of doing this right now. Give it a second here to load. It should be loading in a second here. I'm not sure why there's a little bit of a delay. Rates.
We've got some other questions too if you need to bounce back. So
yeah, go ahead.
Well, so really good questions, and thank you everybody for participating. It certainly makes it a whole lot easier when we can just answer the questions as they come in. So the first question was, where did you go to add that additional information? I think she's talking about clauses, and I think there may be some confusion because you only see the clause editor. You only see the clause button if you've ever created them, but they're really easy to create. And I think Lisa's planning on going over those, but maybe could you show where the clause button is so they could check to see if they have it? Again, you only see it if you have a clause created, but they're so easy to make. What I do is if I'm writing something and I think, oh, wow, this language sounds really good, I copy and paste it right into the clause editor that Lisa's showing you right there. And that clause button, if you don't see it, it just means you haven't created one yet. But if you do see it, it's really easy to add additional information. So the exact question is, how did you add that additional information again? Could you show us that one more time on a multi-line field?
Yes. Yep. So if you have a clause button, you can do this. And if you don't, you're not able to. So, but at the end, I'll show you how to create clauses so you can do this. So you're going to go to wherever there's multiple line, which we've got mine right here. And you're just going to select an area in here. Whoops. And once you do, and add clause here, you can click on it here either way, but add clause. You're going to go to your clause. You're going to select your clause. Hit OK, and it drops it in for you. That's again, like I said, we'll go through this more at the end. Okay.
Another one more good question, Lisa. Sure. And you know what? This is kind of an interesting question because I guess you could add additional signature lines, but so the question is, and it's a really good one, Paula. Thank you. I have a listing coming up. Maybe it might be in a state or something, but she has 4 approved sellers that need to sign. What would you recommend for that?
Adding additional signature lines. I've done that before, so it's not a problem. So when we go into Authentisign, I'll be able to show you where you can add their information in, because you can we'll add them into your contacts. Make sure you have them included in your contacts as your sellers, your buyers. And when we get to that point, you're just going to actually make lines for them. I've had it where I've had 2 and 2, so the lines where they're already there, I can do 2 and 2 next to each other, and then I have their names typed underneath. Or you can just, I mean, depending on the spacing you have, you can have one above, one below it. It doesn't matter. But yeah, that's not a problem at all. But just make sure they're in your contacts because you need them in there in order to add them into your signing.
All right, that's good. I think we covered them all. Thanks.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so I'm going to exit this real quick. Let's go back to signings again. Let's try this one more time. Hopefully it loads for me this time. Oh, here it is. Okay, so I'm going to open this up real quick. So let's take a look at the signing part. Here we go. Okay, so if you notice here in the center, it'll say add document or form once you click on it. If you look to the right, we're going to walk through these tabs here real quick. So first thing is your signers. Start off there. If you click on signers, it opens this up, and we're going to add participants. Now you have an option of adding yourself. You can add new, you can add from transaction or add from contacts. Now, we've done everything in TransactionDesk. We've added our buyers, everyone's including listing side and selling sides all included. So I can add directly from transaction. But if you forgot somebody, or you need to add someone later, or you need to add those additional sellers, this is where you would come in and you can hit add new. We're gonna go add from transaction. So go ahead and click on that. And now you should see everybody that's included in here. So I'm going to add myself as a selling agent. You can add the listing agent as well if you want this sent to them. You can add Mr. Buyer and Mrs. Buyer, of course you want to add both of them. And if you notice here on the right, there's a drop down. So it says type, remote signer. So I'm going to start off with the listing agent. Now, if you are including the listing agent in the signing and you want them to get a copy of what you're doing, make sure you change this from remote signer to CC only, not reviewer, but CC only. And I'm going to explain why. When you send this to a client, and whether they are or anyone involved in this transaction, if they're a remote signer or reviewer, they have to complete either one in order for it to move on. Excuse me. So that means if they're a remote signer, they have to click on it, they got to sign, and it goes to the next person, or it completes the transaction. So if you put them as a reviewer, they have to open it up, and they have to review it and accept it in order for it to move on. So when I'm doing this signing part and I send it to my buyers and myself when we all sign, if the listing agent doesn't review it and accept it, we don't get signed copies back. So what I do is I include them after. So they're going to get a CC copy. So that means that once everyone is done signing, we all get our copies and they get one as well. So if you want to include the listing agent, you can, but do a CC only. Now, if the listing agent is signing with you for some reason because they can't, set it up themselves, you can add them in and make them a signer as well. Absolutely, that's never a problem. Under the listing agent, your selling agent, which is yourself. So if you don't sign any of the forms, then you can make it as a reviewer only, just so you can double check everything before it's completed. But if you need to sign, make sure you're a remote signer, and obviously Mr. and Mrs. Buyer need to be remote signers. So once you have these done, you're gonna hit select, and you're gonna notice all of them will pop in here. Now above that, it says set signing order. Now you have two options. You don't touch this button. Once you send this signing, it will go to everyone at the same time. So everyone will get a copy of it, everyone will sign, and when they're done, it will send a signed copy to everybody. If I have time, I like to set my signing order, and let me explain why. I like to see each one of my buyers sign and complete it. I'll be able to get notifications, obviously, when it's done, but it comes to me last, so that way if I miss something or I forgot something, I can stop it and reset it. So I like setting the signing order. But again, you can send it if you are on a time crunch, there's multiple offers, send it all at the same time. Everyone will get them, they'll sign, and then everyone gets a signed copy at the end. I'm going to do a set signing order so I can show you how that works. And now we're going to go to the right side of your screen, and we're going to go to Docs. So now we need to add our documents. So select Add a Document or Form. And you're going to notice there's 3 tabs. My Transaction, which is TransactionDesk folder with everything that you've added already. Upload or import, if I forgot something, I can upload it right here. And then My Files takes you to all of your files for every one of your transactions. So in TransactionDesk, so if you miss something, you go back and pull that from here, from Documents. I'm going to go under My Transaction, and I'm going to select everything I need. So I need my buy and sell agreement. I need my disclosure regarding agency, affiliated business arrangement, wire fraud form. So, and again, you're just going to check mark whatever you need here. So if there's anything else you need, you can include them. So I'm just going to keep those. And then I'm going to go down further at the very end. It's going to be my documents. So if you notice here, underneath the name of them, it says form documents. So these are ones that you've uploaded. So I'm going to upload in here I'm going to select my seller's disclosure, lead-based paint addendum, and I should be good. So once you have things added here, you hit close in the bottom right corner. And you can see now it's going to be one file with everything in it. So here is my purchase agreement. There's 5 pages. Then should be disclosure regarding agency. And then disclosures, what is the next one? Affiliated business arrangement, wire fraud, then my seller's disclosure, and lead-based paint. Okay. If you're noticing mine, I have all these boxes popping up. I have created templates, or not templates, but layouts on mine. So it automatically adds in signatures, and it adds in signature boxes and initial boxes where they need to go. I'm going to show you how to do this today. So if yours don't pop in, don't worry. But I can show you how we can check if you have any too. So if you go to your layouts, so you're going to skip to the right of your page and just go over to layouts and select layout options and hit apply layouts. Now you can take a look and see which ones have layouts. So like, for example, this one doesn't. So if I click in this empty box here, it will open up a drop-down menu for you, and then you can search for it to see if you have one done. So we have some that have been set up as default ones, so you might have them, like if you're using maybe the GMAR form, it might be one already set up for you. Your office may have created them for you, so you may have some of these set up. I will show you at the end. I'm going to show you shortly at how you can actually create these, so then you can apply them each time. So I'm going to look for my wire fraud because I know I've done that one. So let me find it, and I'm going to drop it here. Drop it in here. So all this is going to do again is drop in those boxes for your signature and your initials. But I'm going to show you how to do those individually. No worries if you don't have this; it's not a big deal. We're going to walk through it right now. Let's just assign the ones for the wire fraud. And if I go to my wire fraud document right here, see now it didn't show any in here. These are not in the right spot. So sometimes you've created, like some of these forms have been changed and I haven't had a chance to go in and update them. So sometimes you'll get them where they're not in the right spot. You can move them. It's not a problem, but this didn't pull. So what you're going to do now is we're going to actually walk through the tools of creating our boxes and putting them in here. So you're going to go to tools on the right side of your screen. And the first thing you'll look at on the right is this drop-down menu, which is your contacts. So if you click on that, everyone that you've selected to be included in the signing will be in here. If you included them to sign, they must have either a signature or initial box somewhere on this form, or it will not let you move forward. So if I need, obviously my buyers, you can click on Mr. Buyer first. I'll go back to the beginning of this, and then I can drop in wherever I need his initials. So Mr. Buyer's here. So I need initials, say on the first page. All you're going to do is left click, drag it, and drop it where you need it. Once you drop it on here, you can left click on it again, and now I can resize it. It lets you do it right from here, or I find it's easier here on the right side of your screen. So bigger, smaller. You can make it required. You can add a name block. You can add a date stamp and a timestamp. When I'm doing signatures, so let's go to my signature page here, for example, which these are in. But if I need a signature, for example, for him, I drop his signature in, and it automatically gives me an auto date. I'm going to move this over. Now, say I forgot to type in his name underneath, then I can click on full name and drag that over, and I can put his name underneath. So we were talking earlier where one of the agents asked about having more than 2 sellers. Okay, no problem. So here's my 2 sellers right here. I'm going to add sign here for one. And again, and then move the date over the auto date. And you only need 1 date, so they don't all need them. I can scale this down a little bit by clicking on it. I can make it a little bit smaller so it doesn't take up as much space. Now I can add, and we'll just pretend this is the second seller. We'll drop them in here. And if you notice, they have different colors, so you know if you've got them both on there. So here's for number 2. It's going to give you that auto date. You just click on it. There's a trash button. I can remove it because we'll have the purchase for 1. And once I have them in there, or if you want both dates, you can have that as well. So I've got them in there. Now I'm going to go to my drop-down menu. I'm going to click Mrs. Buyer over here. We're going to pull her sign box here, sign box. We're going to move over her date. I'm going to make her a little smaller as well, just to give me more space. And then we're going to click on page here, drag over again. Again, it's 4 buyers in here, or 4 sellers. And then I can scale this down a little bit. I can click on that date and trash it. It's a little bit smaller. So you can easily add as many signatures. Now, you need names underneath because you don't have them. So all you have to do is as you click on each one, you have an option to add their name block in. So there's the first one. So I can add that underneath there. And you can size these again, left clicking, and you can scale them from here, scale it from here. So I can make sure that each of the names will appear underneath each one. Okay. So it's that simple. So it's really easy. You can add as many signatures or initials as you need. Okay, so let's take a look at our other tools. So we did our signature and our initial boxes. So let's see what else you can do. You can do a text line. So the text line is for your client to fill out. When I do a listing, there's usually areas where they have to fill in like their social security number, maybe email address, whatever it might be. I like using this text line here to do that because this is for them to fill out. So if I have Mrs. Buyer selected and I put that text line in somewhere, which we'll just throw it wherever, and I drop it in here, then when it gets to her, she'll be able to click in that box and type in what she needs to. If it's required, make sure it's open, that says required, and you want transparent background. If it's type in a lot of things, you might want to make a bigger box. And I do transparent so it doesn't cover anything up. So you'll see when it gets to Mrs. Buyer, it's going to come to that. It's going to highlight it, and she has to type something in there, or it will not let her move forward. Okay, so that's your text line. Initial pages. I already have all my initials on here, but if I needed to add in my initial boxes, I can. I'm going to delete this real quick. I'm going to add them in under seller initials. So if I do initial pages, I'm going to say on the right side of my page, and what size box do you want? We'll make it a large box. It's going to be at the bottom of my document. Whose initials are going in there? So I want Mr. Buyer and Mrs. Buyer. And I want it just for the purchase agreements, the buy and sell agreement, say all 5 pages. But if it's only the first page or second, whatever it might be, you can put a page range in here. And then once you have them all set, you hit place initials, and there they go. It's not always exactly where you need it to be, but the nice thing is I'm not dragging and dropping one by one. And every time you do this, you have to keep changing your drop-down menu to Mr. Buyer, Mrs. Buyer, Mr. Buyer. So it's very tedious. If you can spend a little bit of time and do this one the right way, fill everything out the way you want, like the first one you do when you practice, and you can save it as a layout and you won't have to go through all this again. But I'm going to just drag these down. I can drop them where they need to go. And I can adjust them. But you can see every page of my purchase agreement now has initial boxes. Okay, so that's initial pages. Next thing is radio choice. Now, radio choice you can use maybe for lead-based paint addendum. Say you're not sure if your client wants to do a lead-based paint inspection. Now, in selling real estate over 30 years, I've had one person do a lead-based paint inspection, and it wasn't even my client, it was my listing. So I have not had many that want to do this, but if you're not sure and you want to give them their choice, you can do the radio choice. And what that does, if you click on it, it drops in 2 dots. You move these where their choices are, which I already have initial boxes in there. So I can actually move these, delete them, drop them in there. And so when it gets to Mrs. Buyer, I have it selected for her. You can see it's green, like her number. They can select one or the other. Now, if they select, they want 10 days to do a lead-based paint inspection, and then they try to select waive it, then it removes the dot out of here. So it only allows them one selection. That's your radio choice button. Then you have a checkbox here. So if I want to do checkboxes, just checkbox. If I have something that they have to select, say maybe I forgot to select, let's see, let's go to something like my agency disclosure. Maybe I forgot to select I'm a buyer's agent. There we go. So say I forgot to select this. I can hit a checkbox when it gets to her, or better yet, for myself, because I missed it, I could just go to my name and drop in that checkbox, and so that way when it gets to me, then I can select it. Okay, so that's what your checkbox does. Initial choices is kind of the same as a radio choice, where they can initial one or the other, and it gives them a choice to initial. So if I had initial choices, there's a 2, and I'm going to leave these on here so you can see the options, and they can initial one or the other. That's what these will do. Okay, and then we're going to go over to drop down. I have not used this yet, and there might be a reason to use this, but this allows you to create options for them to select. So what this does is they can name it, what their options are. But honestly, I'm not sure what they would be selecting, but I'll just put in here for whatever. Then you type in what each one is. So what their options are, because what it does is it gives them options then to select which one they want. So there's one, and you create that one, and then they can create additional. So you can do multiple options of this. So it gives a drop down, they can select one or the other. Honestly, I haven't seen a reason to use this yet, but there might be, you never know. So this is something that's on there that's new, but I'll just leave it in there so you can see and create that drop down list as well. And I think that's all up here in the signer actions. Now, if you look under signer fields, full name, which I showed you earlier. So for example, if you forget their name, you can drop it in right underneath their signature lines. Auto date, if you missed the auto date somewhere, you can click on your client and just drop in an auto date for them. So what the auto date does is when they click the sign, it drops in the date. This is really nice because if you send in an offer for them to sign and you put your date in and then they don't sign until tomorrow, then your dates are off. So this will automatically put that date in for you. You can also do an auto time. So if you need a timestamp on there, that allows you to do that as well once they click on it. Email address, this will actually put their email address. So if you need it somewhere on there, you can drop that in there. Markup tools. Okay, so here is those great markup tools we talked about earlier that I wanted to show you in here. So this is my listing. You sent me an offer. My client is now countering. So now I need these markup tools so I can make changes. I'm going to go to my purchase agreement first. Go back to the beginning here. And for example, we're going to counter your amount. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go under my markup tools. I'm going to put a line through the price first. I'm going to drop that line in there. Okay. Once your line is in there, you can click on it and now you can change the color and the width. So if I want to make it really thick so they can see we did that, I can move it up and down and I can change the color. So maybe I want it green for some reason. So you can change that. Now that I've made this change, I'm going to go back to my tools and I'm going to pull Mr. Buyer's initials right next to it. And I'm going to pull Mrs. Buyer's initials next to it. So you can see why I like doing it this way. And again, if you prefer to do it in forms, you are welcome to do it there or in your form editor. You can do it or under your documents, either way under TransactionDesk. But I like doing this because if I don't and I make those changes and I'm trying to hurry up and go through this, I can see myself missing initials in areas because I'm so used to having the ones that my templates, everything's dropped in, and then I forget that I need, initials in different places. So this works the best for me. Again, you can do it either way. So that is your line tool. Now you can also do a text box. So I get to this point and I realize, oh shoot, you know what? I forgot to add in the refrigerator in the basement. So now I'm going to take this text box, drop it in here. As you click on it once, you click on your page, click again, and I can put in here refrigerator. Okay. So don't worry, it's totally off my line. It's way too big. It's not a big deal. You're going to fix it now. So once you have it typed in, you left click and change my font size. We use the 10, so I'm going to drop it down to the 10. I can change the color, which I'll keep it black. I can change the font if I want, which we used, I think, Helvetica or something that was in there, but not a big deal. Alignment where you want it, which is within that box. Do I want it bold? Oh, here we go. I'll add some metallic, so now it looks like the others. And I want a transparent background because if I don't, it's going to cover things. Now, that transparent background is great because I put a line through the price, but I don't have a new price in here. So now I need my price in. So if I want to add another text box, I'm going to go where my price is and say we're going to counter at 340,000. It would be really nice to go by 340. Okay. And I can now adjust this to fit. So let's go 10 and we're going to go bold. Maybe I want them to notice there was a change. So maybe I change that to red so they can see that price change. Maybe I'll make it a little bit bigger just so it stands out. Now, if you want to cover something, you can leave it without a transparent background. So if I wanted to cover this and not put a line through it, I can. And if you notice here, I just covered it up. So one thing with this is when you do this, it probably will cover part of your lineup, but not a big deal. Like I said, and you can have it right there and it's nice and clean and it's right in your price area. So That is how you do your text box. Now, the other tools you have strike through, which again is like your line. So I can put, say, for example, you just sent me this offer and my seller says, I'm not paying for home warranty. Well, no problem. Let's put a line through that. Now I can go back to my initials. Let's drop the initials in for Mrs. Buyer. I'm going to go to Mr. Buyer as well, and I'm going to add my initials in here. There we go. Under your markup tools, again, your highlight tools, maybe I want to make sure that they notice this. So possession, I'm going to highlight this, so left click. Now be careful with your highlighting tool. You can see the color is pretty dark, but you can adjust this. So if you click on it, I can change my opacity. So right now it's a 0.5, which is pretty dark. So I'm going to go 0.25 and maybe make it lighter shade so you can see it. Really careful with these. Again, it covers a lot. So when you're printing this, it's sometimes really hard to read. You can change the color. So maybe I just want to do a gray tone. So that way it's a little bit easier. I feel like gray. So that is your highlight tool. Freehand. Now, unless you are an artist or you are an engineer or something that can draw straight lines, I don't like this tool. I don't use it. Because if I use this, it looks like a 5-year-old was writing all over my contract. So what this does is lets you do a freehand. Now, as you can see, I can't draw a straight line. My life depended on it.
I hate that tool.
I know, I do too. So I don't want that on there. Now, maybe you need to circle something on here that you want them to pay attention. Well, this will let you do a circle. You know, it lets you put X's. I mean, you can do whatever you want with it. But again, unless you have a steady hand, I wouldn't recommend using this. The last thing is ellipse tool, the circle. So this will do a nice circle for you. So if you needed to highlight something, there it is. So very easy. And again, all of these, if you click on them, gives you options. So this one I can change it to yellow, so it highlights it. All right, so we have just walked through all of our signing tools. We're almost done. We're going to send this, and then we're going to walk through so you can do a signing. So we have gone through, we have all our buyers, we added them in for signing. We went through our tools and added all of our initials and all the other crazy stuff I have all over here. If you added in your initials and signatures where you want them, and you want to make this a template, let's make it a template before we send it. So you're going to go down to your layouts here to the right. Under layout options, you're going to hit apply layouts. Now, again, if you didn't put them in where you want them, I wouldn't do this now. You can do this later, but I just want to show you how to do it. So when you come in here, if there's layouts already created, a layout name already appears in here, but you can adjust it. So let's see if it lets me. Yep. So I can actually, I believe it lets me write it. Let me see if it does. Oops. Assign document. So this is on, you know what? I'm sorry, we're not on this. We're on apply. We're not on save. Close this out. I apologize. I meant to create layout, not apply your layout. We already did that. Create layout. That's where we need to be. So now you can see that I can change these. So for example, my buy and sell agreement, some of those boxes weren't where they were supposed to be. If I would have taken the time today and my thing was in a disaster, I would change this and put on here revised or corrected or updated or something so I know this is the new one. So that's what I like to do, and then I'll come in here and just create them. But if you see a create button next to them, that means it allows you to create it. If there's a check mark, it's been already done. So that's the difference. So, and then you're going to save that. Okay, the only other options in here is under options. I'll show you real quick, and then we're going to send this. So under options, you can change your signature here. My signature is already done. I actually wrote with mine. I did mine, I believe, on the iPad on the time, or it might have been my laptop, but I have a touch screen. So I actually did my actual signature. So I have it. If you ever want to create it again or change it, you can come in here and save it, and it will remember it for future signings. Like clients will have the same option. They'll be able to either pick a font when it gets to them, or they can use their actual mouse or their finger and create their signature and initial, which we'll be doing that in a second. I'll show you. All right, so under options again, signing details. So this is just the name of it. Expiration dates, I can add an expiration. Now, I don't use expiration dates unless there's multiple offers and there's a deadline, and if I don't get on there, get it quickly, they're not gonna be able to put it in. So maybe I'll use it at that time, but otherwise I usually don't put an expiration in. Reminders I love, I wish they didn't change it. You can send a reminder every day at a certain time. Now, we used to be able to send a reminder every 15 minutes. They stopped that. I don't know why. Maybe clients were complaining. I don't know. I liked it because I forget sometimes, and it would come in my email as well and remind me, you've got a signing. You got to get your signing done. So you can send it at least every day. Authentisign signing position. Your ID is created every time there's a signing. That signer has a specific key code. That key code goes with their signature, and it will be on every document it gets stamped. If you want to move the location, right now it's at the top left. Maybe you don't want it up there. You can put it at the bottom left of your screen. If you do multiple signings on the same one, I would suggest moving this. I mean, it usually puts one underneath the other, but if you want them bigger and you want to be able to see them, you can move them in different sections of your pages if you want. And the last thing here is if you want to clear your signing fields, which you're not going to, or your markup, you can right here. All right, I'm gonna leave it the way it is. Let's get this sent because I know it's getting short on time here. So if you select next here, now keep in mind, if you get to this point, I'm gonna hit cancel for a second. If you get to this point and you need to go back or you don't have time to send it right now or you need to finish it, don't worry. If you hit back, it gives you an option to save and it'll take you out of here. But we're gonna hit next because I'm ready to go. And you can put an expiration date, you can put a reminder in here, and you can customize these invites. Now, the only thing I don't like about this, you can customize every invite that's a signer or a viewer. You cannot customize if CC only. So usually if there's multiple offers, I may send this directly to the agent, but usually I don't. And then I will download it with my pre-approval and everything else and send them a separate email from mine, once this is done. Okay, so we're gonna put on here offer, I'm gonna put class offer. No, this is not real. And if you want to include me, you are welcome to. I'll know when they come in that they're not actual offers. They're just our class. Okay, so you can put in a message if you'd like. I'm going to skip that, hit save, and we are sending these now. Okay. Once you send it, if you would like to walk through the signing, right now you can. You don't have to do it right now. You can do it later, but I would suggest doing this at least once if you haven't done an Authentisign signing, because it's going to be easier for your client to understand how to do this when you know how to do it and you can explain it to them on the phone. Okay, so signing invitation up here, first one comes in. It will say my client's name, it says my name, and it says my email that I'm sending this to them. It will come from me, and it will say what the signing name is. So all they're going to do is hit start signing. And once it comes in here, it's going to ask them to accept the terms of a digital signing. And if you look here, their options are going to be very simple. They can print or download it, they can start, they can reject it and not sign it. They have an option to change their signature, see the consent on it, see the agreement between parties and their history. That's it. Can't do much more than that. So they're going to hit start. And I always explain, when you start this, pages are going to move by themselves. So if you need to read through them, you may want to actually read through it or download it first or print it so they can see what they're doing. So go here and just click real quick. As you're clicking at the top here, it tells them how far they are, how many they've done, how much is left. Quite a bit in here. So I'm going to kind of click through these really quick just for the sake of time. So here you go. So this one was optional. So they can either accept it or decline it or cancel it. So they accept it. And accept. So you can see here, this one I did two things here. I allowed them to, let's see, that one was a regular one. Where's it? Oh, it's the next one. I want to show you lead-based paint. Okay. I think it's under the wife's name, so we're going to close this out. Okay, so once they're done, you're going to complete it.
Lisa, can I just throw a question in here real quick? And because a couple of people asked the same question. So you get your clients to review and scroll through it first, right?
I just tell them a couple different things. They can download and read through it as they're going through it to sign. They can print it and have a copy in their hand as they do it. And some of my clients, I don't even know if they read it. Quite honestly, I'll tell you right now, some of them will just click, 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 and they're done in 2 minutes. So that tells me that they'll wait till they're finished copy, then they have a copy, they'll read through it. Most of them, and a lot of my clients are clients I've had in the past. They trust me, they know, or they've done this before, they're not concerned. So they may not go through it, but I suggest to them, if they want to be able to read it before they complete the signing, they need to download or print a copy otherwise, or read through it first and then hit start.
So they can, just to be clear, to answer another person the way they stated, yes, you can scroll through it all first and then go back and do the signing. So the document is open. You can go page to page and read it first. They get kind of excited and they generally hit start. And so it kind of jumps them around signature to signature, but they can scroll through the document Or as Lisa mentioned, they can download it or they can print it off as well and then go back and sign it. So really good questions. Thanks, Paula.
Yeah, and actually with the start, even if they hit start, they don't have to go through the signing. They can scroll through and read it first. Until they click through all of them, it won't disappear. So once they finish every box, and they can scroll back and forth as they're reading, as they're signing, they can do that as well. So they don't have to wait to hit start. It's not a problem. Either way, they'll have time to go through it. Okay, so as an agent, you're going to receive an email and tell you an action has been done on the signing. It was accepted, the date and time, your client's name, and then there's that key code. So for legal purposes, you have a way to prove that this client actually signed this. Okay. So we're going to go back now to my email, because now that Mr. Buyer's done, now Mrs. Buyer gets hers. I click on that. I'm going to kind of whip through this really quick because I know, like I said, I'm sorry, I'm running a little late on time. I went through a lot of stuff here. So let's go back into here. They're going to accept their terms. So again, like I said, they can just scroll through here and read. They can hit start, and they can still scroll back and forth and still be able to read through everything. So let's read through her.
That's perfect. Perfect. That was her question. Thanks so much, Lisa. Perfect.
Oh, no problem.
It's like we've done this 1,000 times or something.
Yeah, you think? I don't know. In like the last 14, 15 years, I think I probably have, if not more. Okay, so this is the text. So remember the text line I showed you? There was two of them. There was one at the bottom, which was under your markup tools, but there was one that was at the top. And that top one allows your client to fill it in. Now, I made it required, so that means she's got to type something in here in order to move on. If they get stuck and it's not moving, they just have to hit next, and it takes them to the next one. And almost done with her. It should be able to show you the lead-based paint one as well. Now, the one thing you didn't see in mine, and because I already have them in here, it saved it, is that it didn't give me the option of using their fonts or their actual draw their signature. So I've used these names before, obviously, and so it already had them in there, and that's why you didn't see that. That would have came up once they accepted terms, then they would have had that option to those signatures or initials, depending what they want to use, a font or use their mouse. This is what I talked about. That was the option for making one or the other, one selection. So the radio tool gives you one or the other. So if I hit receive pending or waived, you can see it only allows one selection. All right, done, complete signing. So now we've got both buyers are done, and I'm just going to kind of whip through this real quick because I'll be next. And so now again, it shows that, oh, it looks like Joy, you finished yours. I just received your offer. Thank you. Okay, so this was document accepted. And go back to my inbox. Joy was fast. She's faster than me. I talk too much, so that's probably the problem too. Okay, so should be another one. I should have one more coming in here for myself as the agent, which I thought I added myself in there for signing. It's kind of, I'm not seeing it in here. Let's see. Let me go back real quick and make sure that, and maybe oh, there it is. Let's say it's running a little slow here today. Here it is. Here's my last invitation. This is me as the agent. So now I can accept it. Hit start. And now you can see, you'll see my actual signature because I created it. I did select for that check mark. So there it is for the agency disclosure. And then here are the optional. So you can see initials will only go into one or the other. So that does just like the radio button. That was that test with the drop down. So I'm not quite sure why I use that, but find that one, say, and I'm done. Perfect. Okay. So I just finished all three signings pretty quick. It does go really quick. So now if I go back to my inbox, now I'm going to get two more emails. Now I'm going to get an email showing that I completed, and I'm also getting an email giving me the completed copy as well. Once it's completed, it will go multiple places. I'll show you in a second where it's going to go. Let's see here. Here it is. So here's mine. So it shows that it's been completed. You can see, you can click on each one here to download them, the PDFs, and at the bottom, which this is new, they didn't have this before. Now they have attachments of everything. They used to have to click to save the PDF. Now you can go down to the bottom and go to each one of these as well, which I love. So they can
which I love that.
Yeah, I do too. That was a huge change. So that is the end of my signing. So it shows here that it's been completed. It shows me again. Now here it goes. Now I'm going to get multiple because I included my email for Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. They're all going to keep coming in now. So each one's going to get one showing it's complete and with the attachment. So Now you can go back into Transaction Desk as well and under your documents. So remember, everything that's finished that you can't pipe into anymore goes into documents. So when you do a signing, that's a PDF, it's locked, it's going to go into documents with the signatures on it. So now I can come into documents and I should be able to see under my buyer package here, if you click on it once, everything with a key has been signed. So if I click on this right now, here's our agency, and it shows you everything in here that's been signed. So, and that's why actually this includes everything. Class offer, here it is. I clicked the wrong one. So here's the one I want. So here's my buy and sell agreement. And you can see everything's been signed. All my lines are in here, the mess I made, my freestyle hand, X's, circles, everything. So everything you do on this is going to show up. Make sure it's things that you want them to see. All right, so that is our form. So we went through Paragon, just quick recap, because I'm going to show you a listing, just a couple things on it, and then I will show you the template clause. I can be done really fast. I'll talk fast. Okay, so what we did is we started off with the listing itself. Remember, you started in the listing, you clicked on your transaction desk icon to start a transaction. It brought you into Transaction Desk. Pop-up window came up. You selected a template and showed that you are the selling agent, and then it took you through the wizard. Your 4 steps in the wizard. Okay. Now I'm going to, and then once you did that, you went into your forms, filled them out, and then went into a signing. Now we're going to create a new transaction. So I would like to show you really quick a listing because I have a couple little shortcuts I want to show you. So
Hey Lisa, while you're right there, we just had one question that popped in. I know you're going fast, but while you're right on this next page where your transaction list is, one of the questions was, how do we remove a transaction from our list of transactions? Would you mind showing that? They created a test one and now they want to get rid of it. They're OCD like me. They don't like it in there.
Oh, you don't want to be like mine with thousands of files in here? Are you sure? No. Okay, so let me take you through those. So when we were in the transaction on the right side, we had the three lines up here with the arrow that opened up your shortcuts for each of your folders. For Transaction Desk altogether, if you go to the left side of your page, you have 3 lines up here. Click on those. These icons each have a different section. So first thing is your dashboard, which is your main page. When you go into Transaction Desk from Paragon, this is what you're going to see if you don't go through with the icon to get you in here to write an offer. So this is your main page. If you come in here and go under Transactions, the house here, this is every transaction you have. Every time you click that icon from Paragon, it's going to create a folder for you automatically. Even if you do nothing with it, it's going to be in here. So they're all here. So again, if you have any test ones you want to get rid of, you can come in here and click them and go into your basket. And I can't, but you can delete them. I can't because now that my office is involved with the checklists and stuff, I can't delete them anymore. But you should be able to, you should have a trash button here. Is that correct, Colleen? You should have an option to, because I just assumed because we do checklists that I can't anymore.
If the 3 dots to the menu to the right, they will have a delete there as well. So they can check them all and delete them through the basket, or they can, but if your broker has it set up that unfortunately you've heard of bad agents who delete a file when something goes wrong. I don't want anyone to see I made a mistake. So certain brokers, if you're a large broker who's locked it so you can't delete any longer, you won't see that option there. But most of us can go over to the menu dots to the right and click delete, or you can select it as Lisa showed you, and then you can put them in the basket and delete multiples at one time. You'll see a little garbage can there. Lisa, not so much.
No, not me. I can. So that's why I have a disaster mind that goes on and on and on and on. So yeah. Okay. So to the left again, I'll show you real quick here. Signings. All your signings are in here. Same thing. If you need to remove, I do have a trash button for signings. So I can delete some of those. And you can delete them also from the 3 dots here. So it doesn't allow me to do signings, which is kind of odd, but anyways. And then to the left, forms, all of your forms, if you want to look in here to see what you have, this is where all your forms are. Back to your left of your screen, documents, anything uploaded will automatically create a folder in your documents as well. So when you do bring in your seller's disclosure, you upload anything in there, it's going to put it in your transaction folders. So I'm going to open up transaction folders real quick just to show you. So everyone. Now, the one thing I hate about this, and I wish they would change, this is in order by numeric value. So again, if it goes by the address, by the number of the street. Now, I can remember streets. There's no way I'm remembering every one of my transactions, the actual address number. So that's the order it's in. It says frustrating. So if you need to search, you just need to come up here and go Palomino. Yeah, spell that here. There it is. And then here's all my Palominos. And I'll come in from here. Okay, that's your documents. If you go to the left again, oops, that's your tasks. Again, my office uses this, so you can see they're doing all kinds of stuff in here. I don't ever go in here, so this is all their stuff. But it helps them because if something's missing, they send me emails, and it kind of keeps it all in the same spot for them. I think it makes it easier for them. Under tasks, contacts. Everyone that you've created in here and started adding your contacts in TransactionDesk. No, they're not pulling from Paragon. It's pulling from TransactionDesk. It will be in here, and I have thousands in here. So that is your contacts. And again, those you can come back in here and edit as well. So you can edit or delete them. And if you click edit, it just takes you to the address book again, and you can fill in or remove whatever you need to from there. Okay, under contacts, we've got clauses and templates. I'm going to show you in a second, but before we do that, really quick, because I kind of got off this because I want to show because of the question, but let's create a quick transaction because I want to show you for a listing. And I had this happen. I have a client that I had to list this condo here. He was in Arizona, and I needed him to fill out seller's disclosure, and he didn't have a printer. He didn't have email, like no way of him printing and sending it to me or anything. So I did a shortcut in here, which will help. So you're going to select create transaction. So if you're doing a listing, most likely you're going to start from scratch because you're not going to use someone else's listing. So you're going to name it. So I just use the property address. So I'll put 31654 West listing, so I know it's not real. You can add your template, and I'm going to do this pretty quick too. And I'm only going to have you add a couple forms I really need if you don't have them in there, but I'll show you in a second. I want my listing package. I'm going to import data. Now, this is where you're going to come in and use tax records. We're going to go to Realist. Now, I'm going to select my county, which is Macomb, but I don't know the tax ID number, so we're going to search it. So I'm going to hit Macomb here, and you're going to go where it says tax ID to the magnifier. So click on the magnifier. County's up here. Now you're going to put in the address, the number, and the street number. The street number, not the unit, and then the street name only. Don't put anything else. Don't use road. Don't use drive. Don't use name. Don't use east or north. It will not find it. I will tell you, you'll be searching for a while, and it becomes frustrating because if you don't have it typed in exactly the way the tax records show it, it won't find it. So I just put in the basics, and at the bottom it says search, and there's my client. You're going to check mark that circle and hit select. So now it's going to put my tax ID number in there for me. I'm the listing agent. I'm going to use a wizard, and I'm going to select create. So same steps that you did in Paragon doing a purchase agreement, but I'm not selecting the icon from the listing itself. So it's going to pull now information from tax records. Okay, so now same 5 steps are in here. I'm going to kind of go through this real quick, just because of timing. So I'm going to put in a list price in here, and I'm going to select next. Transaction date, we'll put list date on here real quick. So I'm going to click on list dates. Tomorrow, expiration date, we'll say the end of the month. Okay, and then you're going to hit next. Your contacts, it will automatically pull your seller for you, which is a beautiful thing. Now, they're not always correct. I have had to come in here and make changes, and email address typically is not in here. Now, this is a estate sale, so this is not correct. So this is actually going to be the attorney's a trustee. So I would have to change the estate of, and this is where I will be using all the lines for signatures, which I'm going to show you right now. So I'm going to have to put in the preferred signature, which is going to be the attorney and her initials, my trustee. So I'm going to add her to the address book, and then I'll hit save. And I've just made my adjustments here. And again, you'll have to add your email address as well, which actually, let me add mine real quick because I'm going to show you seller's disclosure. Yes, thank you. So now we're going to hit next. My forms are already here. Now, if you don't have forms, there's 2 I'm going to have you add because I want to show you these 2 shortcuts. The first one's going to be seller's disclosure statement. So click add and plus sign, type in there seller's disclosure. Change your seller's disclosure. So Michigan Realtor should have one in there. I believe should be, and should be this Nope, that's North Oak. Find the one I need. There it is. This one's on flood-based, so I'll just go there. Huh. Something different. If you don't type it in the way they have it, I think they might maybe to it. But find the one that you want. And I was just using, like I said, one that is your office. See, I've got one for my office, which is fine too. You can do any of those. Just make sure you
Lisa,
have it.
the Michigan Realtor Library is redoing their seller's disclosure. I just was on the call with them yesterday, so that they're changing that form. That's why you don't see it. You're welcome.
Thank you, because sometimes I think I'm losing it. Like I think I'm crazy, so I'm like, wait a minute, did I miss something? Okay, thank you.
No, you're right.
The other one I want is your data sheet. I'm going to show you a shortcut with data sheets. So we're going to go to data sheet, my real source, and your residential if you're doing residential. So I have my 2 in here. I'm going to hit add and make sure those are in there. Click next. We're going to skip through documents. We're doing a listing. I don't need anything in here. I'm going to hit done. So I'm going to show you those 2 shortcuts right now. So first thing is a seller's disclosure statement. So I'm going to go to my forms. Now, because my client wasn't able to print, fill it out, scan and email it back to me, I had them fill it out online. And I'm going to show you how to do this because I'm not going to fill out my client's seller's disclosure. They need to fill this out. So what you do is you select what you're going to send them. So I'm going to send them a seller's disclosure. I probably have it in here multiple times, but I'm going to click on this and I can hit my basket or hit the 3 dots. I'm going to email this to him. So I'm going to send it via email. It's going to ask me my client's name. I'm going to send it to myself so I can show you how this works. And I'm sorry, I know I'm going really quick. I just know I took you over time. You can change the subject line. So usually I'll put what it is. I'll put seller's disclosure. And you can put a message. Now, the key in order to let them fill this out is you have to send it as a link. And you have to allow editing. If you don't have these 2 check marked, they can't do anything. It's a locked PDF. So send as link, allow editing. Now, I also add an expiration date, and this is why. Because my client will fill this out, but if I don't have an expiration date, next month you can come in here and change it. This is giving them access to TransactionDesk. It's taking them directly into your file to this form. Now, whatever forms you select are going to be in here. So I only select under items here. You'll see I only have my seller's disclosure. So unless you want something else filled out by them, you can include those as well. But send this link, allow editing, add an expiration date, hit send. Now that that's done, I am going to close this out. I'm going to go to my email real quick here, and I'm going to fill it out just a couple real quick, and I'll show you how it looks. And then I'll show you the other shortcut I have. And then the last thing will be just the clauses really fast and templates. I can, within a couple minutes, I can do this. Okay, so let me refresh this. And it's loading. Delay here, getting it. There it is. So it comes from me, seller's disclosure. And the email will say it was sent to you by Elizabeth Harris from what office? The documents were for this transaction. You can download these documents by clicking the link below. So they're going to click on seller's disclosure. Now it's taking me into TransactionDesk, logging into my account, taking them directly to that form. And that's the only form they can see. The only options they have is they can save, print, or exit. They can move from page to page. They can zoom in and out or save and exit. Now tell them all they're going to do is they're going to come in here and just click in all the boxes and answer all the questions. Answer here, okay? So once they answer their questions here, they're going to go down further and now fill it all out. So was there water in the basement? Yes. Water. Okay. Roof, approximate age, 5 years old. So whatever they want to answer this. The next one, heating system. They have copper. Say the heating system is 10 years old. Okay. Now explain to them too, and I have to remind them this multiple times because they'll say to me, I can't sign it. Why can't I sign it? Well, because this is not a signing part. This is just for you to fill it out. Because I tell them once they fill this out, I usually send this to them while I'm working on the rest of the contracts. Once they fill this out, then and they save it, I can add it to their signing for their listing package and send it all at the same time. So they're going to save and exit. That's all they have to do. And then as the agent, out, go back to my inbox, and I'm going to get a email telling me that this person has viewed it. They've opened it and when they opened it and looked at it. So now I need to go back into TransactionDesk. So I'm going to go back to, because I closed Paragon, and go back to TransactionDesk and resources. And I'm going to open up my seller's disclosure. Here we go. And once you get here, you're going to go under your seller's disclosure. It's still in the forms. It didn't create a PDF of it. It's still in here, and I'm going to open up that seller's disclosure. And here it is. We're going to take a look at what was filled out. And here it is. Here, there you go. So here's just check marks. And hot water tank leaked. Roof is 5 years old. Heat is 10 years old. So again, this is a great option if you need them to fill this out and they can't print or email. So that is your seller disclosure. So now, save the next out of here. Let me show you one other shortcut. So data sheets. When I get a listing, I will fill in as much as I can. I meet with my client. I come back. I finish filling out my data sheet. So here, there it is. So when you go into this, open this up. I'm going to only fill a few things out to show you this, but you'll want to fill in everything. I put in my remarks. Everything that I can possibly fill out is in here. So I can now send this completed data sheet into Paragon and create a partial listing. So all the information I put in here will show up in Paragon. I won't have to type everything in again. My front desk staff doesn't have to type in it again. If my front desk staff has to do it, I still have to go back in there and double check their work to make sure there's no typos. This is the fastest way to do this. So come back in here. I'm going to just fill a few things out so I can show you how it works. So the only things that are all required, like sale, I have to show that it's single family, and I got to make sure my dates are in there. And this section here has to be filled out. It won't let me go to the next step. So on it is, and the area is Warren, perfect. And that's all I need. So the rest should be good. So once you, and again, you want it all filled out, you're going to go to the top and you're going to notice this button that's only on this form, upload listing. So you're going to click upload listing. Give it a second. If you miss something, it will give you errors. And like I said, the more, the better information that you have in here. So I do everything, including my remarks. And then we will take a look at the partial listing in a second. Once it gives us, it will give you an actual pop-up window with a partial listing number. I believe partials are in there for 90 days. So you can go back in and adjust them whenever needed. So I might be listing this in next month. I can at least have my partial in there if I have all the information. Here it is. So the listing, here's my partial number, was sent to the MLS. So let's go on. Now to find it, you have to go to listings and you're going to go to maintain listings, partials. Maintain listings, partials. Once you come in here, it's going to ask you, what are you looking for? So I'm looking for my partials. I'm going to hit search, and there it is. So now in order to complete this, you're going to hit select an action on the right. I'm going to maintain my partials, so I'm going to open it up. Now you can do this for your admins or assistant. Let them know you've got any partials. They'll be able to do exactly what I'm doing right now and finish it up for you. So the only thing that should be missing is your photos. If you fill everything in the data sheet out, your photos will be missing. And then if you want to upload your seller's disclosure and your lead-based paint, which I would suggest, it's a little bit easier for an agent to write an offer. And then you would just have to put in there the status is active, and it will go live from here. You can make it live, but you can have this done within minutes instead of spending another hour filling in this information. You can see it pulled that information in for me, it pulled in the location information, and then you will finish up the rest. So there's still going to be a lot that's going to be missing if you don't have it in your data sheets. Again, fill those data sheets up and you can send them over. Okay, those were the two shortcuts I wanted to show you. So last thing, templates and clauses, and then I will let you go. I'm so sorry, I've taken everyone's time here. So on the left side of your screen, first thing is clauses. So go back into TransactionDesk. If you closed it out, just go to Paragon, go to resources and TransactionDesk. Now, Colleen did include templates or handouts for that. So you should be able to walk yourself through it. It's very simple. So under clauses, you're going to go to personal clauses. So unless you're an admin, you're not able, or manager, you're not going to be able to, or it's your own brokerage, you're not going to be able to do office ones. So here, you can see the ones I have already here, but I can add, again, that great add button, add new clause, name your clause. So if I'm doing appliances, and you're going to type in exactly.
And Lisa, just so you know, a lot of people chiming in, great job and well worth the running over. So.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry. I feel bad that I'm keeping everyone over their time, but I'm glad this is helpful. So you can type in your wording. Thank you. You can type in your wording for your appliances. Again, adding zero value helps with underwriters, so you might want to add that in, but you can type it in exactly the way you want it, and then you just hit save. So that's going to save it here. Once these are in here, you can always modify them. So I can come back into my menu, I can edit, and I can type in whatever I need. Okay. So that's your first thing, your clauses. Next, we're going to go to our templates. Let's show you templates. So move to the left, down to templates, and we're going to do transaction templates right here. So with templates, again, you can see I have quite a few. Everything that shows 2 people were created by my office. I can't modify or delete these. But if it has 1 person, and if you've done some test ones, as you can see, I have quite a few, you can come back in here and you can remove these if you don't want them, or you can edit them. To create a new one, you're going to go to the add button, that add button and that plus sign. That will help you through everything in here. Name it. So if you're doing your own and your office has some, I would suggest putting my, so I usually do like my, package or my listing package or something, so I know I did this and it's not my office one. Type, so you have to make sure these match, because then it knows what type of what type of product you're pulling the templates in from. So we're going to do the buyer had actually residential, so we want sale. So a residential listing right here. And then you can put a description if you want. You don't have to. So you hit save. So I have my seller package, and then it was residential listing. You go down, so you can add all kinds of things in here, checklists and contacts and documents. We want forms. That's the main thing. And this is where you add your team. So your assistants, your admins, your partner, whoever it is. So we're going to go to forms, select the plus sign. Now it's going to take you to your form folders. Now you select everything you need. So I always suggest start with your office folder and pull in everything that you would need for this. So I'm doing a listing, so now I'm going to select everything I'm going to use for a listing package. So anything that I might need on that, disclosure on lead-based paint, agency relationship. I need my seller disclosure for them to be able to fill that out. Here's my right to sell, listing agreement. Gotta make sure I get my data sheet in there. So again, you'll select them all. Once you have whatever you need selected, and you can go, back and forth. You just hit back to individual forms, takes you back to your other folders. You can always hit your search button if you knew you missed something, and then just hit add. So now my forms are here. And now that they're in here, you can see I've got these 4 arrows. I can move these in whatever order. You can put them in whatever order you'd like to see them. And then that's it. So and it's saved, so I don't have to do anything else. It's already in here. So if I want to come back in later, I can go back into my transaction templates, and that one's in here, and I can just select edit, and I can make whatever change I want. Okay. And that's it. So we have gone through a lot. I'm so sorry I overloaded you. I hope this is helpful, but handouts, please download those handouts.
Lisa, could you show them? We recorded this, so I'll get this edited and uploaded probably tomorrow. Could you just show them in Paragon where to go to under resources and education, where they'll find this class in case they want to look at something again?
Yeah, absolutely. So do you want to just go directly to the recorded webinars?
Yeah, if you would click on recorded webinars, that'll take you right to our YouTube page. And then if you just click on the playlist, this whole class will be recorded, so you can fast forward if you had to step away for a call, anything like that. If you just click on the playlist there, it'll say Transaction Desk. One of those playlists will say Transaction Desk. There's classes for everything, listing maintenance, tips and tricks, Paragon tips and tricks, public records, all the great classes that Lisa teaches. So if you missed anything, or I know we ran just a little bit over, but feel free, you can go back and watch the recording too. And a lot of great feedback, Lisa. Thank you so much. I still learned so many new things, even though I had used it a while. Thank you. This was well worth it. Just a lot of great feedback. You're an excellent instructor, and thanks for taking us through all that.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Glad I could help out, and I'm glad this is helpful. So the one thing, your homework is make sure you create a transaction desk, create an actual sale or listing, whatever you want, and do a signing. Try to do this today, tomorrow. Don't wait too long, because if you wait, you're going to forget everything I just told you. So handouts will help you. You've got those, there's screenshots of what we do step by step, and you can use all those. Is there any other questions or anything else I missed that I can go through before we end our webinar today?
No, just some more great. This class was really much needed. You explained everything very well. Thank you. Excellent job. Just a lot of great feedback. So thanks, Lisa. I appreciate it. You always do an amazing job covering everything. I always pick up some little tip from you every time I watch.
Thank you so much. Well, I think we are done with the class then. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Hopefully I get to see you in an actual classroom sometime sooner than later. And please take the classes as often as you need. That's what we're here for. And call us tech support. We're here to help you too. So
Thanks so much, Lisa. Have a great day. Have
all
a great
right.
day,
You
everybody.
too.
Happy
Have a good
selling.
day. All right. Thank
Bye.
you. Good one. Bye-bye.